Welcome to Happy Death Day. Imagine you're late for work in 1982. You're running through the New York subway, minding your broke business. And bam, on a black advertising panel, there's a glowing baby with lines shooting out of it, like it just unlocked Super Saiyan mode. No brand name, no gallery tag, just chalk. And audacity. That wasn't vandalism. That was Keith Haring turning the subway into a cathedral. And today, we're talking about how a skinny kid with a marker turned stick figures into a revolution, and how the streets lost him way too early. Keith was born May 4th, 1958, in Reading, Pennsylvania. Not exactly the graffiti capital of the world. Little bro grew up drawing cartoons with his dad. Dr. Seuss vibes, Disney vibes, Looney Tunes chaos. He wasn't drawing still life fruit bowls. Nah, he was drawing motion, energy, life. Like the lines themselves had caffeine. Now here's the twist. Keith tried the safe route first. Commercial art school. You know, the steady job son path. That lasted about as long as a New Year's resolution. He drops out, says forget this corporate coloring book life, moves to New York in 1978, and that's when the city grabbed him by the collar and said, "All right, kid, let's see what you got." New York late 70s/early 80s wasn't brunch and influencers. It was raw. It was graffiti trains. It was crack-era tension. It was hip-hop being born in real time. And Keith? He found blank black ad panels in subway stations, those empty, paper-covered spots waiting for ads. He didn't wait for permission. He pulled out chalk and started drawing fast. Radiant babies, barking dogs, dancing figures, TV heads, flying saucers. No signatures, no ego, just energy. And here's the crazy part. Commuters would stop. In New York. You know how hard it is to make a New Yorker pause? You gotta either be famous or on fire. Keith was neither, but he was undeniable. He'd finish a drawing before the cops showed up. Sometimes he got arrested, but guess what? Every arrest was marketing. Every erased drawing made people want more. That's Street Strategy 101. Now most artists, they want gallery walls, champagne openings, fancy people nodding like they understand what a red square means. Keith said nah. He believed art should be for everybody, not just collectors with yacht money. So he opens the Pop Shop in 1986. Selling t-shirts, posters, buttons, toys. People said he was selling out. Keith basically said, how is it selling out if I'm selling to the people? Man was democratizing art before social media existed. That radiant baby? It wasn't random. It symbolized purity, energy, possibility. The barking dog? Authority, warning, systems. His art looked simple, but it hit heavy, because it spoke about AIDS, racism, apartheid, nuclear war, police brutality, capitalism, all in bold lines a 5-year-old could understand. That's genius. If a kid can get it, and a professor can overanalyze it, you've won. Now let's talk about the shadow over all this neon glow. The 1980s AIDS crisis. While politicians were acting like it didn't exist, the LGBTQ community was losing people left and right. Keith was openly gay, and fearless about it. He didn't whisper his truth. He painted it huge. In 1988, he was diagnosed with AIDS, at 30 years old. 30. That's not an ending age. That's I just figured life out age. But instead of hiding, Keith went harder. He created the Keith Haring Foundation. He pumped out artwork like time owed him money. His later pieces got darker, more skeletal figures, more urgency. It wasn't fear, it was a countdown clock. Keith Haring dies at 31 from AIDS-related complications. 31. That's younger than a lot of people watching this right now. Let that sink in. He lived fast, created non-stop, turned chalk into prophecy. And here's the wild part. Some of those subway drawings? Gone. Wiped clean. Temporary. But the movement? Permanent. Today his art is in museums worldwide, from kids' books to fashion collabs, from street murals to million-dollar auctions. But never forget, he started underground. Literally. Subway platforms, dusty tiles, police whistles in the distance. Here's the thing. Keith Haring proved you don't need complexity to be powerful. You need clarity. You don't need permission. You need courage. He made activism look joyful. He made protest look playful. He made truth look like cartoons, and somehow that made it louder. And in a world still fighting the same issues, his barking dog still barking, his radiant baby still glowing. February 16th, 1990. The world lost Keith Haring at just 31 years old. 31. That's not retirement age. That's, I just figured out my style age. AIDS tried to erase him like one of those subway chalk drawings. But here's the twist. His lines didn't fade. They multiplied. Radiant babies still glowing, dogs still barking, stick figures still dancing like the system didn't win. So yeah, happy Death Day, Keith. You left the platform early, but your train's still running through every city wall that refuses to shut up. And that's immortality in bold black lines. Subscribe for tomorrow's Death Day. And remember, death is guaranteed. History is optional.